Hi, I'm Adobe Certified Instructor Dave Kelly, and today's the day we're going to learn how to reorganize our Lightroom catalog. Most of the complaints I hear from photographers are things like, my catalog is all messed up, the images don't show up where I thought they would after I've imported them, I can't find them after I've imported them, or the import dialog box is too confusing to learn. So if you watch my video on reorganizing the folders panel in Lightroom during import, that will solve all of those previous problems going forward. However, it's not going to help at all with images that have already been imported into Lightroom. So let's take a look at how we can get those already imported images reorganized into the Lightroom catalog.
When you go to start reorganizing your catalog, there are a couple of things you should be aware of. The first is that whatever you do to reorganize your images in the catalog must be done from inside Lightroom. Anything you do outside Lightroom, including rename the images, will break Lightroom's connection to those images, and then Lightroom won't know where they are. The second thing I think that's important is to give some thought to the structure of your folders panel. And I think you should make it as simple as possible because that will help you find your image easier. So, my recommendation is that you create a master folder for each year, and then each photo shoot during that year should be a subfolder underneath the master folder year. And the reason I recommend this is because this is exactly how Lightroom has secretly organized your images behind the scenes. In order to see what Lightroom has already done for you that will make it easy to reorganize your catalog, we need to go to the library filter bar, which resides at the top of the image window in the grid view of the library module. If you don't see it, press the / key on the keyboard and it will appear. And in the library filter bar, we need to open the metadata panel. And you can see by default it opens with 4 different columns, each one with a different metadata listed in it. You can have more or less columns. All you have to do is click on this icon to the right of any one of the header bars and you can add a column or remove the column. That's not going to be necessary in our situation today, but what is necessary is to make sure that one of the columns has the date selected for the metadata to be shown. If it doesn't, then you can go and click on the double pointed disclosure arrow to the right of what is selected for the metadata, and you will get a list of all the metadata that you can put in a column. The top one is the date, and so we'll select the date. When we have the date selected, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go over to the catalog panel, which is the top panel in the left column of panels, and we're going to open that and select all photographs. Once we've done that, we're going to expand the metadata column a little bit, and you can see that Lightroom has created a folder for each one of the years, which basically are what we want to end up being the master folder. And it gets better because all you have to do is click on the right pointing disclosure arrow to the left of the year, and it will show you all of the images that were taken in each month of that year, and the number will be listed on the right side of the column. So it gets even better because all you have to do is click on the right pointing disclosure arrow to the left of the month, and it's going to show you the dates during the month that you photographed the images. It even shows you the date of the week that it was, and it will show you the number of images that you photographed on each day that you photographed them. It even gets more better because if you click on the date or the day, it will not only show you the number, it will show you the images that you photographed on that day. And if we shorten the metadata column here, you'll be able to see the images that you photographed on that day, and these will be the only images on the screen at that time. And it even gets better than that, because if you were to select an image or select a group of images and then either control click on the Mac or right click on the PC or bring up the photo menu at the top of the screen, one of the choices that you will have is show in Finder. Lightroom will then bring up the Finder or the Explorer, and it will show you exactly where the image is. You can see it's in the folder 2014, and it's in the Alaska folder, and here it is over here. It's probably not necessary at this point to know exactly where our images are on our computer. What is important to know is that they are in Lightroom, and Lightroom recognizes them. So with all this information provided by the metadata panel, I can now reorganize my images in my catalog. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to create a new master folder. So I'm going to go back to the folders panel and open it, and you can see I've got master folders created for all of these. And the way you create a master folder is you go to the header bar of the folders panel and click on the plus sign. When you do that, you get the option to add a folder. So I'll click on add a folder, and that's going to bring up this dialog box on screen. And in the left column of this dialog box, all of the different devices connected to my computer are listed. And you can see that here's my Lightroom external hard drive where I keep all my Lightroom images. I want to click on it to make sure that it's highlighted. What I'm doing is telling Lightroom that I want my images to be in this external hard drive. And the next thing I want to do is create on the new folder button down here at the bottom left of the dialog box, and that's going to bring up this other new folder dialog box asking me to name and create the new folder. Well, I've got master folders for all of the years, so I'm going to create one for 2020. And so I type it in there, and I'm going to say create. Once I've done that, the only choice I have left is to choose it. When I choose that and I go back to my folders panel, you can see that my 2020 folder is here. It's listed, and it's grayed out because there aren't any images in it yet. So now I'm ready to start creating subfolders next year in 2020 when I go on a photo shoot. But let's talk about going back to a master folder 2014, and you can see we've already selected Sunday the 17th of July, and I shot 51 images there. So what I want to do now is I want to create a subfolder underneath 2014, and I'm just going to select these few eagle images here. I'll click on the first one, and then I'll shift click on the last one, and well, here I'll shift click on the rest of them. I'm going to put these images in a subfolder. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new subfolder under 2014. To do that, I'm going to bring up a hidden menu, which I call a secret menu because nobody tells you that they're there. And a secret menu or a hidden menu is one that requires a modifier key to open. So on the Mac, I'm going to control click on the 2014 master folder. If I was on a PC, I would just right click on it. When I do that, I get this hidden menu, and it says create a folder inside 2014. When I click on that, it's going to ask me to name it. So I will say Eagles. Since I've selected the images, I'm going to include the selected photos in this folder, and then I'm going to say create. Guess what happens? When I come over here, I find my Eagles folder. It's already there, and it's got the 10 images in it. So here's the sequence of events for reorganizing your catalog using the metadata column in the library filter bar. First, select a year and create a master folder in the folders panel for that year. Then open up the year in the metadata panel and find images that should all be together in one folder. Select all of those images and then create a subfolder underneath the master folder year. And you do that by either right-clicking on the PC or control-clicking on the Mac and say create a folder inside that year, and then Lightroom will ask you to name it. And since you've already selected the images, you want to check the box that says include selected images and then say create. All of the images that you selected will be in a folder underneath master folder of the year. Then go back to the same master folder for the year and select another group of images that should be in another subfolder underneath that master folder and create a new subfolder for it. And once you name it and create it, the one selected will be in that subfolder underneath the master folder. And while it is labor intensive, no one said you had to do it all in one day. My advice would be to start with the most recent year and create subfolders underneath the master folder of the year and then move backwards. What you'll end up with is a very well organized catalog, which will help you find your images very easily, and you might even find some images that you forgot about that you'd really like to have as some of your best images. All of this information and a whole lot more is available in my new book, Lightroom Classic Made Easy, which is version 9, the latest version from Adobe. It's available on Amazon.com in both the hard copy and the Kindle version. Thanks very much for watching.